This one's gonna sting. This one's gonna hurt. Today we're talking Johnny and Winona, and I love them, and they're kind of still a mystery, and we'll get into that, but this is part one of Johnny and Winona. Bitch. Also, if you don't like the way that I talk, there is a website where you can get this information. It is called google.com, and it is gratis. You are so welcome. Be well. So Johnny Depp and Winona Ryder were like the sad girl. I'm misunderstood. Nobody gets me except you. You know, dream of the 90s. And I know they're probably like all over people's Tumblrs, but in the 90s, there was not a tabloid that did not have their faces on it. So before Johnny, Winona didn't really date anybody because she was 17. She had like a week fling with like Christian Slater from the Heathers, and like she went like on a date once with like Rob Lowe and Robert Downey Jr. However, by the time they met, Johnny had already been married, divorced, and engaged again. When he was 20, he married a makeup artist, and they broke up. And then he had a very serious relationship with this girl from Twin Peaks, Sherilyn. She's beautiful, but this is about Winona and Johnny, so let me get back. I literally look at pictures of them and I forget how stunning of a couple they were. Seriously. He also dated Jennifer Grey from Dirty Dancing. Isn't that crazy? Okay, so the year is 1989, right? And they meet in the lobby of a theater because they're there for the premiere of Great Balls of Fire, which is ironic, and I'll tell you why. Winona Ryder is getting a Coca-Cola, and Johnny Depp told Rolling Stone that it was like a classic glance. He said it was like the zoom lenses in West Side Story where everything gets foggy. But they both agree it was absolutely love at first sight, and he was 27 and she was like almost 18. Great Balls of Fire is a movie about Jerry Lee Lewis and his 13-year-old wife. And they met at that premiere, huh? Moving on. For their first date, they decided to meet at a friend's house. And Winona Ryder said that she thought he was like a Hollywood guy. I mean, 21 Jump Street is huge. Huge show. He's easily like the teen heartthrob, number one teen heartthrob at this time, right? And Winona was like, I was sure he was going to be a jerk, but she said that he was like remarkably shy. And that's what really like enthralled her about him. Enthralled her for him. She was enthralled. Especially because like marketing wise, Hollywood made him like this James Dean character, and he was like timid and cute, you know, and 27. So this is part two, Johnny Depp, Winona Ryder. Let's do it. So Johnny Depp and Winona Ryder, like I was saying, were probably, the biggest stars of their generation, easily. He was this gorgeous. How does he have a perfect nose like that? I had to get filler for mine. He was this rising TV star, and she was this teen starlet. So, and the age difference, like, hello, the media ate it up. But apparently they had a lot in common. Johnny Depp read all of the beat poets that Winona grew up reading. We're going to talk about Winona's life next because it is unusual. It is unusual. However, so anyway, they both were obsessed with like Catcher in the Rye. They had a mutual obsession with the Mission soundtrack, and they would often frequent Winona Ryder's father's bookstore together for hours and just read together. They were also like obsessed with Jack Kerouac, but for me in present day, when somebody's like, oh, I love Jack Kerouac, I'm like, oh, I get it, you're a fuckboy, but whatever. So Johnny Depp said this was unlike any relationship he'd ever had before in his 27 years because he said that he could hang out with Winona all the time. And it was great. Like he would bring her on set with him. They were always together and he loved it. He never got tired of it. Which I get because, as you probably know, in the beginning, sometimes you are obsessed with someone and then like 3 weeks in, you're like, oh, I hate you. Or like you get the ick, you know? But he just said that he couldn't stop hanging out with her. He couldn't get enough of her. And from reading about them, I do get the sense that they were like these extremely talented introverts that happen to love acting, but they were very much introverted people. And they both had very unstable childhoods, and we'll get to that in another series. But I definitely think that they were kindred spirits. I don't know. I know the age difference is crazy. I know it's crazy. 10 years is a lot, especially 17 to 27. But the way that they talk about each other is like, oh, like my friend broke up with her boyfriend when Twilight came out because she was like, "You're never gonna love me like Edward Cullen." We told her not to, but she did. And reading about this, I'm like, does my fiance even like me? So Johnny Depp was Winona Ryder's first everything. First boyfriend, first kiss, like first real date, first naked hug. But everyone in Johnny's life at this time would say that all he could do was gush about how much he loved her. I'm starting to feel the jealousy tingles. Oh. This is part 3 of Johnny and Winona. I just looked at part 1 and 2. I didn't mean to mess up your sleep schedules. I just have things I want to say. Okay, part 3. So pretty quickly, Johnny Depp gets the tattoo we all know, Winona Forever. When the media asked Johnny about the tattoo, he's like, the Winona Forever tattoo is not something that I took lightly. Her eyes kill me. And you know what she does? Oh, sorry. I said sorry to the ring light. Her eyes do like kind of swallow you up. You know, when you meet somebody that have those like big, they just like kind of look up at you. She does have those like big, beautiful eyes. But I don't have a Winona Forever tattoo. Her eyes are beautiful. Their song was Crazy for You by Madonna. Have you heard that song? Any losers. After 5 months, they're engaged. And a month after that, they move in together. Yes. I double checked those numbers. Yeah. They do Edward Scissorhands together. I love that movie. And a lot of people commented on that the chemistry that they had in the movie was very similar to the chemistry that they had in real life, which breaks my little heart. So her parents apparently loved Johnny Depp, but there's conflicting reports. Some people say they had 0 reservations. They loved Johnny. I mean, they used to spend weekends in Winona Ryder's parents' house. And the parents would like pamper them. Like, you know, they had like a guest house. They bring them food and snacks and movies and books. But then there's other reports where they're like, oh, they loved Johnny, but they didn't think that she was going to marry him because she was a teenager. She was a teenager. And it was her first boyfriend ever. But they never got married. So doesn't really matter. So they broke up in June of 1990. I was about to be born. A month later, my birthday's tomorrow. Okay, so they break up June 1990. Summer breakups. A summer breakup is hard. Break up with me in the winter. You know what I mean? So they announced the end of their engagement. The media goes insane. But apparently, Johnny Depp was shattered. And we're going to get into that. And Winona almost died. I'll tell you about it. Hold on. Okay, part 4, Johnny and Winona. And before I even hear it, I know it's a short series. They're together for 4 minutes. Beautiful together. Look at this. Beautiful. But like, achoo, a sneeze. So reportedly, Johnny Depp was absolutely shattered about this breakup. So much that when friends asked him what's wrong, he couldn't even speak about it without bursting into tears. He just had to stay quiet. He would just close his mouth, and if he talked about it, he would just burst. Many people that were close to Johnny have come forward and said that Johnny Depp was never the same after this, that he was darker, more reserved, and a little, like that's, for a long time, he started doing things with like an accent, like roles with an accent, or like cartoons, you know, like animated stuff. Like Tim Burton and Johnny Depp are close and they've worked together pretty frequently. And right after the breakup, he went back to working on Ed Wood with Tim Burton. Tim Burton said that every day Johnny Depp would show up on set hysterical, like blubbering tears, bursting into tears, blubbering tears, could hardly speak, needed time to settle before getting back to work. Would show up sobbing. So Tim also said that one day he asked Johnny, like, what happened? And Johnny said, it was my fault. It wasn't hers. It wasn't her fault. It was mine. Same thing. But neither of them have come forward and told us, neither of them have texted me and told me what happened, if you can believe it. But they've never told anybody what actually happened, like specific details, you know? Like, we need the details. But anyway, Tim Burton said that Johnny was never the same, and it just wasn't the same even with Kate Moss, like the legendary model. I don't know how old everybody is here, so I have to say that, but Kate Moss is an icon. So Tim Burton said he was never the same, even when he was with Kate Moss. I don't know how old everybody here is, and it hurts me, but I have to say Kate Moss is a British supermodel. You might know her from toxic slogans like "Nothing tastes as good as skinny feels." Thank you for that, Kate. But she's very much a party girl, right? She was a huge party girl. So when I see somebody who's like described as being so broken, going out with somebody who's so like out all the time, she was known to be a heavy party girl, I think, okay, maybe this person just doesn't want to get that deep with somebody, or maybe, you know, God, were they like soulmates? Talk about it in the next part. Okay, part 5, Johnny and Winona. So Tim Burton, he's talking about Johnny, and he said that Johnny Depp was never the same, even with Kate Moss. He says it was weird to be around him, like Johnny wasn't even Johnny anymore. And then says this: it's almost like Winona took Johnny's love. Winona took Johnny's soul. The only thing I've taken from a man is his patience. So, I mean, for Winona, it goes without saying, that was her first boyfriend. Do you remember your first boyfriend? She was devastated. Devastated. Like, when I think about my first real breakup, I would check like Facebook statuses and stuff. But this is like a heartthrob, a TV star heartthrob. It's everywhere. I can't even imagine being like 18 and seeing your first ex-boyfriend's face like everywhere. She said, and I quote, there was a point where I felt like I was spinning out of control. I also thought this was weird. During this heartbreak of hers, she couldn't get a handle on it, so she went to go see a doctor. And the doctor said that she had anticipatory nostalgia, which I think is made up. Anticipatory nostalgia. Like waiting to miss him, or wait. Maybe somebody in the comments is more poetic than I am about this. To me, it just sounds like she's heartbroken, right? So she said that in a hotel room, she was in hotels, working on projects, and all she would do is drink screwdrivers from the hotel minibar, smoke cigarettes all day, and listen to Tom Waits. I cannot imagine something sadder. She would just smoke, drink, and listen to Tom Waits all fucking day. And she says she almost died because she fell asleep with a lit cigarette and the hotel room caught on fire. That's also how my grandfather quit smoking, but this isn't about me. But she says that that was a wake-up call for her, that she needed to start getting her life together and she couldn't live like this anymore. Johnny Depp fixed his tattoo to say "Wino forever." He thought it was funny and he didn't want to scratch her name out because for him that would be like as if it never happened, and it was like a big love for him. Winona might be legally married to Keanu Reeves, so we will be discussing that in the next part. Part 6, Winona Ryder. This is not Winona Ryder. This is Johnny Depp. This is Winona Ryder. Okay, let's continue. So while we don't know exactly what went down and why they broke up, and they probably will never talk about it, they are still friendly to this day. I don't know how people do it. I guess with enough time, you can do anything, right? Si se puede. Johnny Depp did share, though, that he has a regret. Johnny Depp said that he regrets being so open with the media. And he said that he thought that if he was open, it would kind of kill this curiosity and they would be left alone. But he says it instead fed this curiosity monster. And that the media attention was definitely a factor into why they broke up. The media wouldn't stop hounding them, talking about the age difference. I mean, hello. But listen to this. We can talk about Winona Ryder's dating history. She's dated some cool fucking dudes. after Johnny, okay? And we know Johnny's dating history. And I definitely want to dive deeper into Winona Ryder's life, but I'm hesitant to do Johnny Depp's life because of accusations, and I don't want to trigger anybody. It's definitely triggering for me to talk about anything DV related. And as a woman, it just doesn't feel right. And I've heard all the voicemails and the notes, and it just doesn't feel right. So if I do go into Johnny Depp's life, I don't know if I want to go into the near past, if that makes sense. Okay, so Winona Ryder, though, she did a movie with Keanu Reeves, Dracula, and they were in Romania, and there's a wedding scene, and they had an actual Romanian priest do the ceremony. So she likes to tell people that she's been legally married to Keanu Reeves for 20 years. And then she shoplifted. There's so much to talk about.